Asym fish by Electric Avenue. 5'6" by 20 1/4 by 2.5. A little bit of backstory. I was riding this board, the Seaside, a lot. I was kind of thinking maybe I should size down my Seaside. But then this thing came up on market, not much money, and I thought, I've always wanted to try an Asym. You have boards that you really love going toe side and you don't like how they go heel side. Especially in a fish context, a lot of people complain about 20s going backside. Was kind of riding it as my daily for a while, and I was running it with this upright asymmetrical set. So that's what that looked like. Definitely went better than the Seaside in big waves, but it's still a very flat rocketed board, and it didn't have a ton of drive because of this fin set, I think, partly, but also just because it's a super short little flat board. I got the Futures EN, which is a bigger toe side, and I also got a Super Rate back split keel quad set. It's my first time trying out the Asym by Electric Avenue with a bit of a bigger toe side fin, raked split keel quads, which I think is like a lot more what you should probably run in this board. Yeah, hoping this goes well. I reckon there might be some 6 sets to roll through, so. Catching waves on this board is a challenge. It does not paddle as good as any of my other boards. So this totally worked. Like, it made the transition from toe to heel side way less extreme in its sensitivity, and it gave me a lot more drive on the toe side, which was epic. So let's do a quick review. You already know the dimensions: 5'6", 20 1/4, 33.4 liters. It's basically a little fish with a reasonably pulled in tail, so a bit more performance than I guess a traditional fish. And then obviously it's got the Asym swallowtail, so the heel side rail is shorter than the toe side rail, so hopefully that means more pivot on the toe side, and obviously asymmetrical fin set. And the fin set is extremely asymmetrical. So if you look at this tail, the toe side fin is almost in line with the quad rear, and the front quad fin is like way further up than the toe side fin. When you've got your foot kind of here, up on this part of the board, driving that toe side fin down the line, your heel's already over the quad fin. So you've got way more sensitivity and way more pivot on your heel side without moving your foot back. And then if you shift your foot back a little bit, your heel's like behind the big heel side fin. So it just means that it feels like every time you go heel side, your foot's way further back, and every time you're on your toe side, your foot's kind of a bit further up, which just lends itself to generating lots of speed, because it means that you're always kind of, well, you're not always, but you're typically finding yourself in a better position to drive down the line on the toe side, and a better position to pivot and carve on the heel side. Apart from that, rocker's pretty flat, rails are pretty standard, kind of downturned, they get sharp towards the tail. How's it surf? Surf's pretty cool. It's definitely the most sensitive and pivoty little thing I've surfed. It's probably one of the smaller boards I've surfed as well, so that's probably part of it as well, but I think a big part of why it's so crazy rail is the Asym design. When I compare it to the Seaside, which is not much bigger, it almost feels lethargic going heel side unless you throw your foot right back to the back of the kick, which is what you're supposed to do when you're surfing. Like when you go to do a big heel side turn, you know, you always see people, they'll start here, kind of driving down the line, maybe here, and then as soon as they go to turn, they'll throw it right back and jam their heel into the tail. It's very cool because you kind of don't have to do that almost. Size or waves that it suits, it definitely suits a smaller wave, but I would say I'm kind of a little bit below the skill level to be riding this small of a board in those kinds of waves. Like, it's kind of a small board for me to grovel with. Like, I can definitely grovel with that thing, the 5'8" by 22, 5'6" by 20 and a quarter. It's a bit hard for me to grovel with it, like, but yeah, it's definitely a grovelly kind of shape, flat rocker, and it goes great in small punchy waves. That's what I've found. It really just feels like you don't have to think when you surf at all. Like, there's no, the board just goes where you think it to go. Kind of starts to struggle in like overhead hollowish waves because it's so skatey and there's not a lot of drive, but maybe with the different fin set that's a different story, and obviously if you're a better surfer then it's a different story, but I definitely benefit from a longer rail line in, you know, bigger waves. A while ago I had a chat actually with Mr. Mogo, and we were talking about shaping boards, but then we also talked about asymmetrical surfboards.
They're always good, I don't know. Asyms are kind of good in the shaper's perspective because you can't stuff them up.
What about from like a performance perspective, do you think?
I think they've definitely got their place, but you always find, like, you know, like on a board you'll prefer it either like, oh, I like this board.
Yeah, just theoretically it makes sense, right?
Yeah, 100%, yeah. And I don't know, honestly, like if you didn't asym just in the tail but still had your fins like in the same position, you probably wouldn't feel that much difference, really, like at all. But I think a different fin setup is good.
Yeah, because this thing feels ridiculously like sensitive on your heel side.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Like you don't even have to.
Well, you get a bit more pivot because you got the quad in it.
Yeah, and you've got so much more hold.
Yeah. But like, I talk a bit with like my blank supplier. Like he does a lot of shapes for professional surfers, and they'll ask him like, "Oh, can you copy this board? Like this is my magic board. Out of the 100 boards I got this year, this is the one I want." And you'll get it down on the stand. You'll measure it all up, and he's like, "Do you want me to copy it exact, And the guy's like, yeah, why? And he's like, oh, because
it's asymmetrical.
He's like, your heel side rail fin is like a quarter of an inch
really
wrong, like from the and the guy's like, copy it 100% exact how it
Holy
is.
shit! There you
and
go.
out of the 100 boards, because like there are a few CNC machines now that can cut in your fin boxes, but they're pretty rare. Like I think only 1 or 2 guys have them in the country. But for the most part, like your fins all human done, your rail tucks all human done.
Yeah.
Your tail shape's all hand done. So they're technically their magic boards are usually the boards that are like
a little bit asymmetrical.
Yeah,
right. Yeah, that makes sense though, because that's why it would be different to all the other boards. Yeah, that's why it would be magical, because it would be.
Well, they're all cut like they'll make the same CNC file and they'll cut like 100, and they might just do different lengths, but it's the same file, like same outline.
Yeah. Was watching videos of Matt Parker talking about the album Fascination, which I think this is kind of based on. I've just been quite interested in, Asyms. It's been pretty sick to have one and experience it for myself. I don't know if every board should be asymmetrical. One of the things I noticed when I first started surfing this board was, because I've been surfing non-Asyms, I'm so used to shifting my foot right back that I was shifting it right back, and then it was almost like I'd shifted it too far back. So I guess you learn how to surf a non-asym technique kind of facilitates a non-asymmetrical design, and then an asymmetrical design is aiming to facilitate a more like the human anatomy, I guess. Electric Avenue seems like he makes 6 boards. He's in Tweed Heads, I think. It's definitely a fun board to ride. Would I recommend an asymmetrical surfboard to anyone? I think if you're interested in it, go for it. I mean, I guess it just depends on what you want to get out of your surfing, but it's definitely a really cool feeling. So yeah, that's a quick review and just some thoughts on Asyms. Yeah, I don't really know what to say because I'm not a pro. I'm just an intermediate surfer who's kind of likes the idea of it, and I want to ride this board more. The reason why I don't ride this board much is just because it's so small. It's harder to paddle around and catch waves on than my other boards. I'm a bit of a weekend warrior, so I want to get waves when I go surfing. That's a little review on my Asym Fish by Electric Avenue. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.